Powered by Riverside.
Welcome to episode 6 of the Dugout Dads Local Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Hughes, and my co-host,
Jonathan Parker.
Where our skills are questionable,
but our spirit is unstoppable. Well, Michael, week 6 of the Dugout Dads Podcast. We continue to grow our followers and, continue to get a lot of positive feedback with this. I'm enjoying it. Another good Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of football. I know there's probably some that are disappointed out there, but just a great time of year.
And you look at it, Friday night started out great. It was a great weather. It turned in the first day of fall today, and the weather's kind of changing a little bit, getting a little bit cooler at nighttime. And the high school atmosphere Friday night was electric. At Smith County, down at the Creek Bank at Trousdale, and then Gornsville over at playing DeKalb at home. And then, hey, what about the Big Orange going into Norman and coming out with a big win?
Big win. The Titans took one on the chin today. Again, 0-3 start. I think there's a lot of questions there that have to be answered pretty quickly about the quarterback position for the Titans.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I'm not sure that – I know it's Levis's first time at the helm, being a so-called not real rookie anymore, but I guess a rookie when it comes to actually playing. But he's making some of those early mistakes that you just can't make in the NFL. Now you look at it and you don't want to see them made in college, but when you get to the professional level, those are mistakes you cannot make.
No, and I think he's starting to see the ghost. His offensive line, has let him down to this point his whole career. When you look today, the Titans give up 7 sacks. 7 sacks, and then you throw a pick 6. It's in the NFL that it's where it's so close all the time. You just cannot make those type mistakes.
Yeah, and you go back. Let's we can scroll back here to Friday just for a few minutes to talk about the high school matchups. And we look at Trousdale or Smith County. He goes to the Creek Bank and plays Trousdale County. A matchup of 2 teams that hadn't won a game yet. Right, Trousdale County got a forfeit from the Republic team who didn't have enough players to come play, so they got a forfeit there, but they hadn't had a real win yet. And then Smith County, who's 0-4, that's played 2 4As, a 3A, and a 1A, and 0-4, and actually go to the Creek Bank and get a big win there.
Right, and that'll lead us into the Infinity Promotions weekly recap and scores. So some of the local scores of interest. We had East Robertson with a 43-27 win over Joe Burns. Westmoreland with a big 28-7 win over Monterey. Macon County with a 35-7 win over Cumberland County. Green Hill beats Lebanon 52-28. Oakland with a nail biter, a blocked field goal at the last play ended the game 13-12. So that was a really good ball game and kind of a shock to me. It'd be interested to see if those 2 teams match up later in the playoffs. Jackson County 35, Red Bowling Springs 0, Watertown 20, Cascade 3, Portland over Clay County 24-21, DeKalb 35, Gordonsville 21, Smith County 42, Trousdale County 7, and a couple of local college scores. Vanderbilt took one on the chin, played really tough against Missouri. I watched most of the game, but Missouri comes out on top 30-27. Duke beat MTSU 45-17. Tennessee Tech over Tennessee State 24-14. And, of course, like we discussed earlier, Tennessee with a big win in Norman, Oklahoma, 25-15. A lot of good scores, a lot of points being put on the board. But I'll start out. I'll start out with the DeKalb County Gordonsville game. Watched it. Gordonsville started out really well. They moved the ball on DeKalb County. It just at the end of the day, DeKalb, and it was the first time Gordonsville had really been tested. I thought I felt like the offensive and defensive lines for DeKalb County really pushed them around a little bit. But for me, it boiled down to just too many mental mistakes, too many penalties. Gordonsville ended up having 10 penalties for over 100 yards. And look, like we talked about, even at the highest level, you can't do it at the high school level either. And those mistakes were just too much for Gornsville to overcome.
It was. And it's the first time, as you mentioned, it's the first time that Gornsville's offensive and defensive line has really been tested this year. They're 4-0. They're not really been tested by anybody much. I mean, Smith County played them pretty good the first half, and then Gornsville pretty much dominated after that and have dominated the last 3 games since then. But you're right. DeKalb really gave Gornsville fits up front a little bit, and then you look at DeKalb County's quarterback, who him and the number one receiver there, he was throwing it all over the field. He was making some good catches. And it's really looked like Gornsville couldn't really bottle him up. He made a lot of plays with his legs and then scrambled out of the pocket and hit number one on a couple of touchdowns where number one's sitting there by himself.
Yes, and I think the kid that ended up, Lions kid, the receiver, number one, I think he ended up with 3 scores. And I'm looking at the stats here. Gornsville, they weren't outgained by much by DeKalb County. DeKalb County had 325 yards. Gornsville had 257. Gornsville with a big special teams touchdown by Dalton Hancock, who again flashed for me. I've seen him progress. He's continued to get better. They're continued to, add him into the offense more, and he's really playing a really good brand of football right now.
Yeah, and you look at it, but you go back and you talk about the penalties that Gornsville had when Dalton took the kickoff for a touchdown. He gets a personal foul at the end of that touchdown run, and then it's assessed on the kickoff, and then to give DeKalb County even better field position. It's just those little mental mistakes. You're right. 10 penalties in a game, especially in high school, that's a lot of penalties. And I'm sure Coach Jackson, they've watched film. They'll correct that come next week. But 10 penalties and 3 personal fouls in the first half.
100%. And I feel like in practice this week that will be addressed. And as we know, and those penalties, I highly doubt we see next week against Monterey that they have 10 penalties for over 100 yards.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And I think Gornsville bounces back and probably beats Monterey next week because I do feel like Gornsville outmatches Monterey pretty good. But, it is a 4A team with DeKalb coming in who had a little bit more speed than Gornsville's seen all year long. And Gornsville, they just got them with those penalties. And then the passing game for DeKalb, I felt like really, really excelled, to beat Gornsville secondary.
And I didn't get an injury update on Bryson. I know he went out.
He did.
Hopefully he's not injured. And hopefully that's just something that'll be quick and he'll be back out on the field. And
you look at it, he runs pretty good. He got hurt, and then you got Jamario Williams who comes in and does a great job as a backup. He's got a little speed too that he can come in, and I feel like Bryson may be a little shiftier in between the tackles, but Jamario outside the tackles, he's got a lot of speed on him.
Absolutely, and you look at the rushing stats. I mean, there were only 3 yards difference between DeKalb County and Gornsville. So Gornsville was able to really run the ball well, even without Bryson, even having Bryson's injury in there. So absolutely, Jamario had a great game.
Yeah, and you look at it too. I noticed something you saw where Jay and Mason Cross had been swapping up reps quite a bit, and they swapped up the first half. But Jay kind of took over the whole second half, and you didn't see much of Mason after Jay took over in the second half. But you go back and look again. Gornsville's got a lot of young talent right now. You look at Jay Foster, and you look at Maddox Randolph, and then Hancock's a senior, but you got Waylon Kennedy in there. Then you got the Jamario Williams. They got a lot of young talent that's coming up. It's going to help them come playoff time.
Absolutely. And again, that was a measuring stick game. I know Coach Jackson said that last week.
Yeah.
It was disappointing loss. They were honoring the 84 team. So there was a lot of outside things there, but I know Coach Jackson very well, and he's going to have the boys ready. You learn more from a loss sometimes, and I think he learned a lot about his team. They fought hard against a good 4A and what I think is a really good 4A team. So I think this coming Friday night against Monterey, they'll come out, get all that behind them. Everything's, still in the forward thinking, and I think they'll be ready to play Friday night.
And once again, we've talked about this numerous times. You're right. It was a measuring stick game, but also it was a non-region game. So, you want to win them all, but you really want to win the region games. So, moving forward, I think, like I said, I think Gornsville's going to outmatch Monterey come next Friday and get back on the right track.
And switching gears to the Smith County, Trousdale County game at the Creek Bank, a big region game, Smith County's first region opponent. They go down there, they take care of business, and really looked good doing it. We went into this game winless, but like Coach Dyer had talked about, and like we have talked about, you could see the growth. You could see it, and playing those tougher opponents and getting that experience. And you look at the score sheet, and it's that young talent that's showing up on it.
Yeah, and you look at the passing stats, and you always talk about rushing. You look at Riley's passing stats. I think he was 13 or 10 of 13 or 13 of 15 or something like that. Almost 200 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. I think he even had a rushing touchdown in there as well, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. I looked at the stats a few minutes ago. But you look at the passing for Riley. That's something they have tried to incorporate more. In the first 4 games, and it really stood out to me come last Friday night.
Yes, and then they outgained Trousdale County by 200 yards, 365 to 151, and so Riley did almost get to 200 yards. But you look at the rushing stats, and you see those rushing stats are ticking up.
Yep.
Jaden Evans was 72 yards rushing. Riley Martin had 50 on the ground, and then of course Caden Mason coming in there, and Gage Gibbs, a freshman and sophomore, Caden with 32, and Gage with 17 yards rushing. So like we talked about last week, like I asked Coach Dyer last week about the rushing, and you can see it. And again, we know that Trousdale is not the Trousdale of old. We know that, but they're still competitive. They're still going to give you a good game at the Creek Bank. And Smith County really played a really clean, no turnovers, and very few penalties. They only had 2 penalties for 2 yards.
And that's what I was going to talk about too. Looking at the stats and going back, we talked to Coach Dyer for the last 4 weeks, and penalties has always been something we brought up. But you look at it, 2 penalties for 10 yards. So I mean that's you want to keep a clean game, and 2 penalties for 10 yards. That's a pretty clean game in my opinion.
Yeah, mine too. And that shows that what they're coaching these kids is starting to click. It's the wheels are starting to spin.
Yeah, and I, me and Coach Dyer spoke a little bit yesterday, and we talked about you use this win hopefully as a stepping stone to get better, because you got East Robb coming in next week. Your schedule don't get any easier. Where East Robb coming to the hole in Carthage, and East Robb's got a couple of D1 commits on that team. Coming down to play Smith County, and Smith County beat them once last year, then come around and got beat in the playoffs by them last year. So. It's going to be a really, really tough game for Smith County when East Robb comes into town next week.
Absolutely. I mean, like you say, East Robb's got, I think their Groves is their last name. Of course, I think the one really good D1 commit is out for the season. But there's still 2 other. I think one of them may be a nephew and one of them may be a brother. I'm not 100% positive, but they're very talented. And they're going to bring everything they got from East Robertson to the hole Friday night in a big region matchup game against Smith County.
It is, and it's one of those. It is a measuring stick game, but this is also a region game.
Yes.
And so I know Coach Dyer and his group film session is probably going on right now. If I had my guess, we did give Coach Dyer a week off, so I'm sure that he's okay with that. He's probably in film session right now, because you could look at the East Robb team coming into the hole. They're a really high prolific offensive team that can put points on the board and put points on the board quick. So I really think that they're going to focus defensively for Smith County this week. Smith County has a tendency for the last few weeks to give up some over-the-top touchdown passes, and some long runs that they cannot give up against East Robb.
Right, and you hope that last week's game against Trousdale is a building block. You can see the progressions. You can see Riley progress and get better at the quarterback position. You can see the running game get going, and you hope and pray that continues to grow against a very good opponent in East Robertson.
Yeah. So moving on from the high school round, let's jump over into the college round for just call and talk about a great win for Josh Heupel and the Big Orange, going down to Norman, his old stomping grounds, where he wins the national championship. He's a Heisman finalist. Goes down and gets a 25-15 victory in a not normal offensive night for the Volunteers.
Well, and for me, it was a great game, and I kind of felt like Heupel kind of reined it in a little bit. I don't think he was. It seemed to me like he was never. They were never really challenged, and I think the field conditions. If you look, I think maybe the lawnmower guy took a week off, or
Yeah.
and again, I go back to these fake injuries with these players just falling. It's frustrating, and then you get the field conditions that they had. It felt like to me that Josh was kind of reining it back a little bit. There was not as much push down the field, but again, just a absolute great win, number one SEC game of the week in the SEC for me, in my opinion. And kudos to them starting the SEC season 1-0. But man, I cannot say enough about the defense. That defense to me is elite, and there are some elite young players that stood out to me. Boo Carter, oh my gosh, he is going to be a problem if he can stay healthy.
He is. And, we talked about this, and I messaged you this last night, where you look at Tennessee's defense replaced every single secondary member. They replaced every one of them. Their whole secondary left or graduated out, and they replaced 5 new secondary guys. And to where their defense is now blows my mind, because I really didn't expect them to be that good.
No, and you look at the transfer that came in from Oregon State, Jermod McCoy.
Yeah.
He looks to be the part. And really and truthfully, I think leads by example. And to me, what impressed me was some of the hits. I don't think I have seen a Tennessee team light up as many players to say, hey, this is going to be a 60-minute ball game. We're here to hit you, and you're going to know on Sunday because you're going to be sore.
Yeah, and we'll go back and we talk about the defense and how good the defensive is, but the defensive line, the depth they have now at the defensive line, where I think Herbstreit was even talking about on the show. You have seven different combinations of defensive line that they can rotate in.
And you don't lose anything.
And you don't lose anything. You don't lose nothing. And we stiffened Oklahoma's offense. You take a 5-star quarterback and the Arnold kid who don't make it into the second half. He comes back in at the end of the game because their backup quarterback gets hurt. So to me, that is a telltale sign where you got Tennessee's high prolific offense and you add that defense to them, you come around January, you suspect the Vols to be still playing football.
Absolutely. The biggest thing is just staying healthy at this point. And, another thing for me is James Pierce has not even gotten going. He's getting a lot of double teams, but his time is coming. And, big players make big time moments happen, and those moments are going to happen for him sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and you always got to look at Nico too. You talk about Nico, who's a redshirt freshman. He's going down into enemy territory. Your first road game that really means something into Norman, Oklahoma, where it's a really, really big football town, football community, and that's going to be a rivalry eventually between Tennessee and Oklahoma, especially if Josh Heupel stays there. And for him to go down and really didn't do anything to hurt the team. Yes, he had a couple fumbles. He got 1 strip sack on him. He didn't throw any interceptions, but for him to go down and throw the ball like he threw the ball, man, it's a testament to where he's at right now.
Absolutely. And Nico is he grows each week. There's a lot I know that they want to clean up. They want to get better at. There was a lot of mistakes that was made on the offensive side of the ball. But, hey, if you can win games in the SEC by 10 points, I'll take it all day long.
Yeah, and you heard, you don't know if you listen to Josh Heupel, his interview after the game is he actually said they backed off. It comes to the second half, they backed off of what their game plan was because they knew they had the lead. And let's milk the clock. Now, do us fans who like the high profile, prolific offense like that? Probably not, because there's a lot of if you read Twitter and you go through it and there's a lot of upset fans about how the offense was performing. But if you look at it from a coaching standpoint, it's super smart.
Well, and for me, I'm going to tip my cap to Oklahoma. Oklahoma came in with a great defensive plan. I think they had Nico confused a little in the first half. And, kudos to them. They got 11 guys too, and those 11 guys are pretty solid on defense. Now, they've got some questions they've got to have answered on at the quarterback position. But Oklahoma's defense played their butts off, last night.
Yeah, 55 for Oklahoma defense. The guy up front, I can't recall his name right now, but he wreaked havoc all night long. I mean, he was in the backfield. He was moving, making Nico move out of the pocket. We pretty much stifled the run game. Yes, they did rush for over 100 yards total in the game, Dylan Sampson had 20 some odd carries for 90, I think almost 92 yards. I think something like that. He didn't break the 100-yard mark, but Oklahoma's defense kind of made Tennessee's offense not do what they normally do.
Exactly.
And I can't. Tennessee's off this week, so it's a good time for the Vols to rest up and get ready for Florida. I think comes to town. No, I'm sorry, Arkansas next, and then Florida comes to town. So it's a great 4-0 start for the Vols, and for them to go into Oklahoma and get that physicality that they had, and to get an off week. That's huge.
That's absolutely huge. And they're going to be going up against another SEC opponent when they get back on the field. And there were some injuries to the offensive line. They didn't have Hurd last night. So getting hopefully 2 weeks, getting him back, getting the offensive line back healthy. I think, Arkansas is struggling a little bit. They've got a really good coach in Sam Pittman. But those boys will be ready to play too.
Yeah. And it's, and Kirk Herbstreit said it the best. He said it, when Tennessee football is relevant, college football is better.
I agree.
And it's coming from Tennessee fans. We know this. We know we always expect it. We've been living in 20 years of misery, it feels like, outside of, a year and a half or 2 years ago when we made the Orange Bowl, or was the Orange Bowl run we made? We made that run. So we're going to swap gears here for a little bit. We're going to actually talk to some of our high school players. We're going to bring some high school players in. And, this is something that me and Jonathan's been looking forward to for quite a few weeks here. We've talked about bringing people in. We want to set this stage for the student athletes, right? So we're going to start here tonight. We're going to bring Riley Martin in. We're going to bring Cole Hackett in. And, we're going to talk to these guys. And we've got some guys coming in from Gornsville. And there's Will. Will bring you in here in just a couple of minutes. But we're going to bring Riley and Cole in first. And then we'll talk to Will and Mason Greer from Gornsville side of the ball. Looks like we got everybody coming in right now. Give us just a second. We'll get this straight here. Riley, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We'll get Cole up.
Let's bring Cole in. We'll show Cole. We'll get Cole in. Cole, can you hear us okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, guys, once again, we appreciate you guys coming on. We want to bring you guys on. We want to highlight you guys. And, you guys are doing a tremendous job of where you're at. And just appreciate you guys coming in and joining us tonight.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir. I appreciate the opportunity.
And hey, guys, congratulations this past Friday night on a great win, great first region victory. Tell us a little bit about how the season's going and where you think the season's going from here.
Yeah, and Riley, we'll let you start if you want to.
Yep.
All right. Well, obviously, we've played a gauntlet. We've played lots of tough teams, playing our region, 1-0 in the region, go week by week, go 1-0 every week. That's our goal. Last week was huge. I think we have a lot of momentum going into East Rob. So I'm excited.
So, Cole, how about for you?
When you start off with a good 1A team in Gordonsville, strong up front, 5 senior linemen, I think they can push teams around like that. And then you play 4A to Cab, 3 or 4A Liberty Creek, and teams like that, Macon County. It's just coaches like to tell us that in those times we're just getting battle tested, and that's going to help us going into region play.
So for me, you guys are kind of the hookup, the combination, the wide receiver quarterback combination here. Let's see, Cole, have you got, is it 3 touchdowns so far?
Just 2, I think.
Just 2. Okay.
Yes,
so how is that relationship building? Riley, you got confidence in Cole? He's running the right routes and making the right reads?
Most of the time. Never know.
Hey, but you got to look at this though, Jonathan. You got to start. This goes way back. This don't just start in high school. This goes back to youth league. I know you guys. You guys been playing together for a long time. So this connection is not just starting now. It's been going for a little while. And I've seen you guys. And I remember you guys playing in youth league as well. That combination was still there, and you guys have really, and you're sophomores, right? You're getting so much playing time right now that's only going to benefit you guys. Come your senior year, hopefully you guys stay healthy enough and nothing happens. But you guys are really, really excelling in the positions you guys are playing right now, and that's kudos to you guys.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
How do you guys feel about the youth development so far? We're seeing a lot of freshmen, a lot of sophomores play. How do you feel about the progression of growth? And either one of you want to answer, it's fine.
I feel like everybody's starting to buy in, and with the youth, and everybody's starting to understand how good we are going to be, and how good we are, how good the athletes that we have. Everybody's just now starting to understand, and it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, and let's. I want to talk about Friday night just a little bit. You guys you're 0-4, and you're going into Trousdale County, and you look at it. It's one of those games, your first region game, and you want to get that win. And you guys come out and played lights out. You guys played great. You Riley, you had an excellent game. You threw for almost 200. You rushed for 50. You had 4 touchdowns. And Cole, you had a touchdown receiving. Just talk about that a little bit of what your game plan was and how they executed out last Friday night.
Yes, sir. We coming into this week, Monday, we had a long weekend playing on Thursday, so we got an extra day of preparation, and they really just stressed like being locked in and having a lot of intensity and just fly around.
And Riley, same question to you.
For me, it was really just get the ball to the athletes and let my line do their thing. And they did, and we all executed, and we won.
So looking forward, guys, got another region opponent this week. Not sure if you've been able to watch any film yet on East Rob, but what do you expect this coming Friday night in the hole?
I expect a good game. I expect a really good game. It'll be really, really fun. We have some unfinished business from last year. We got some bad blood, so it's time.
Yes, sir. I think we both got a bad taste in our mouth from last year, and it might have some things fall in our favor. So I think it could definitely be a battle Friday night.
Yeah, I agree with you as well, guys. And you look at it, you guys are 1-1 against East Rob. Last year you beat them at home, and they got you in the playoffs. So now it comes back to where you're right. It's unfinished business, right? And they have a couple of D1 athletes on their squad, and offensively they're going to be pretty prolific. And I'm sure you guys will have a good defensive plan. But what I really want to see is, Riley, is you guys on the offensive side of the ball to really continue what you got in Hartsville last week, right? You guys come out and you excelled, and I really think you could do this against East Rob too. Every game that you guys have played so far, and me and Jonathan talked about this with Coach Dyer as well, you guys have been in the games, right? It's just toward the end of the game, a couple of bad breaks didn't go your way, but you've been in every game that you guys have played this year, and I'm super excited about watching you guys come Friday night.
Yes.
Sir, appreciate it.
And Cole, shout out to you. You're playing both sides of the ball. I think you're playing really good on defense right now, maybe even a little bit better on defense than you are offense right now, because you're really getting in there, forcing fumbles, making tackles. You are really playing hard brand of football right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we can't forget Riley, because Riley, you told me and Coach Reed that when they put that prevent defense out there, you got to put them hands out there, ain't that right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And Riley, continue your growth. You're getting better each and every week at the quarterback position. Just continue the growth. And guys, we wish you the best of luck this Friday night, and let's go 1-0 this week.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you.
And we'll move them backstage. All right. Once again, we appreciate them coming on, talking to these young athletes, get them getting in here and doing these little podcasts with us. It's kind of probably nerve wracking for those guys, and just for them to come on and do that, man, like I say, we want to really highlight these guys, and we're going to go ahead and bring in the Gornsville side of the house now with Mason Greer and Will George, and Matthew, if you'll let them in, we'd appreciate that. Hey guys, how are you guys tonight?
Doing good. How are you?
Good.
Thanks for coming on with us, guys.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for doing this.
Yeah, and like I said, we appreciate you guys coming on, and we just told the other guys, we really want to highlight you guys, right? So we're going to get this where we bring some Gordonsville Tigers on every week, along with the Smith County Owls, because we want you guys to talk about your season, right? It ain't all about the adults. It's you guys. You guys are out in the field. You guys are playing the game, and we really want to highlight you guys here.
So, guys, I guess the first question for me, you've gotten off to a great start. You kind of took one on the chin this Friday night, but talk about your successes so far this season and what has gotten you to this point.
You want to go or you want me to go? Well, I think we attacked the offseason with one goal in mind, and that's a state championship. We're an older group up front. We want to run the football. We want to play good defense, and that's the recipe to win a bunch of football games, And we've started doing that. We're doing good at that. And everybody's going to play the blame game about Friday night. But we win and we lose as a team. And it's pretty much it.
I like that. Great answer.
Yeah, great answer. You're right. And, me and Jonathan, we talk about this. We've talked about it with Coach Jackson too. And you made a comment there just a second ago, Will. We feel like your team goes as you front five go, right? And you and Mason, we know we've watched. You guys are the anchors of that offensive and defensive line. Mason, I know you come in, you play a little bit of defense, but you guys are both on the offensive line together. And that's where it starts. Bryson Grissom is having a great year, right? He's having a great year. He's got a lot of yards, but that don't happen without you guys up front. And you guys, kudos to you guys up front. We always talk about the linemen never get any credit. You guys know this. You played line long enough. Linemen never get any credit. But you guys have really stood out to me this year. So kudos to you guys for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And for me, guys, looking at this DeKalb week, we know that it was a 1A versus a 4A school. They have more kids, a bit, bigger school. Did they do anything that you guys weren't expecting, or was it schemed up differently than what y'all had been looking at?
No, sir. I just feel like all week in practice, we just didn't have the best practices that we could have had that game. We had a lot of mistakes during practice, which led to the game. Like you said earlier in the show, we had a lot of penalties, and that hurt us a lot. But it's hard to overcome 100 yards in penalties. And when you don't have a good week of practice, getting stuff down, then it's hard to beat a really good football team.
Like he said, the way to win is prepare. Preparation is the key to success, I've always been told. And this week in practice, we did not practice. We did not perform in practice like we should. And practice always transfers to the field, and we just didn't practice well, and we didn't play well Friday night. They did everything that we worked on all week in film and practice. We just weren't in the right spots when it mattered, and that's what happened when you don't do that. We lost.
Yeah, and you could definitely hear a lot of coach in what you guys are speaking right there, because me as a coach too, we always say the same thing. Practice always carries over, no matter what. If you have a bad week of practice, you're gonna have a bad game Friday night. But outside of that, guys, you battle. We watched you guys. You never give up. You never quit. You keep trying. You go down the field. You try to get those touchdowns. You try to get back in the game. Dalton takes a kickoff back for a touchdown. And they come back and they score on top of that. But you guys come right back down the field and score again. So you never give up. And that's something that's a testament to you guys, a testament to your coaching staff, and a testament to your whole team. That's something that we've watched so far, and that's something we picked up on every game you guys have played. You're 4-1 now. Me and Jonathan just talked about this a few minutes ago. Yes, you want to win them all, but you want to win those region games, right? And right now you're 1-0 in the region, and now you got Monterey coming up. Talk a little bit about what you know about Monterey, what you expect to see this coming Friday night.
They're big up front. They're physical. They like to run the football. It's a typical Monterey team. They don't wow you through the air. They want to control the clock and run the football, and that's about it.
Yeah, like Will said, I've been told by other teams that they played that they like to run it up the middle. So it's going to be a good test again for our defensive front and defense this week of stopping the run, and that'll help lead to the other region games we got coming up.
Well, guys, you're off to such a great start. Let's put this one in our rearview mirror. let's look forward. You still got everything in front of you. And again, kudos to what Michael was saying. I have talked about the offensive and defensive line for you guys all season long. You guys are doing an absolute fantastic job for this Scornful team.
Thank you.
Yeah, and like I say, we can't wait to watch and see where you guys go. And I watched the halftime interview with all you linemen, all the linemen, which is a great segment there. And he asked you guys a couple of questions. What do you want to do for your goal for the end of the year? And Will, your quick answer was state championship, right?
Yes.
And that's what you want, right? That's what your goal is every single year is state championship. And I think Mason, yours was South Pitt. You want to get back to South Pitt. Which South Pitt is the measuring stick in 1A football, and you're right there with them. I see a blast, a bash coming in with you guys and South Pitt starting. I guess will that probably be week 3 or in the playoffs probably if you get that far. And dude, I can't wait for you guys to get there.
Yes, sir. The goal is to go 1-0 every week, and if we keep doing that, we'll be just fine.
Well, guys, we certainly appreciate you coming on with us. We're going to try to have more student athlete segments, but we really appreciate you coming on. We wish you the best of luck against Monterey. And guys, let's go 1-0 this week against them.
Thank y'all for doing this.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Michael, just so excited to have, a group of kids from each school to come on and talk, and really from a different perspective. We had a quarterback and a receiver from Smith County, and then we had the lineman from Gornsville. And really, like I've said, kudos to all 4 of those young men. They continue to grow and get better each and every week.
And you listen to them, talk, right? So I'm sitting here and I listen to those guys talk. And you hear coach talk coming out of those guys. And, man, if you got players that are talking like coaches, you're going to go far.
That's exactly right.
And those 2 guys were nothing but you could hear Coach Jackson in their head. You could hear Coach Jackson talking to those guys in there. Man, it's so crazy that they do that. And to me, like Will said, you want to go 1-0. And if they keep that coach mindset in their head while they're practicing, they're going to go 1-0 every week.
That's exactly right.
So now we got a very special guest coming on with us. We're going to switch gears. We're going to go to our Tiger softball here and Tigerette softball, I should say, and talk to Miss Abby Brinkley. Abby, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing wonderful.
Thanks for coming on with us, Abby.
Absolutely. Thank you for the invite.
We were sitting here and we've talked to a couple Smith County football players. We talked to a couple Gornsville football players, but we wanted to focus on you and your teammates tonight as well. Me and your dad talk all the time. We talked about you, and one thing I got to say right off the bat is congratulations on your commit to Henderson State University.
Thank you.
I mean, me and Jonathan say this all the time. I don't care if you go D1, you go D2, or you go D27. If you're going to play college ball, that's great. So congratulations.
Thank you. Any division, JUCO to D1, if you make it to that level, you're special. You're a special athlete because only a small percentage get to be there.
That's right.
Well, and it shows your commitment. It because that's what it requires. I played collegiate. I played golf collegiately, and to get to that point, you have to put in the time, the work, and the effort that it takes. It's not just you're going to wake up, your senior year, and I'm going to go sign with Henderson State because it's all the work that you have done prior to that that's built up to what you're doing and what you have done.
Yeah, it's a very different setting, and even I can try and prepare myself, but I really won't know what I'm getting into until I get up there, because it's a different atmosphere. It's very different from the high school level and even the travel level.
So let's talk about a little bit when you go on site. You go down to Henderson State. What did you think about the campus? What do you think about the program? What made you commit to Henderson State?
So I committed as a senior. That's not ideal, obviously, for softball players. September 1st of your junior year, when you don't get no calls or no texts, you kind of get uptight. You start to worry a little bit. But Coach Worthington stayed on my recruiting path. He actually started out recruiting me from another D2, and then he moved into Henderson State and is trying to build a firm foundation there. And so I stepped on campus. The campus is beautiful. We actually don't. I mean, our mascot is what we call Ready, and Ready's is like the school spirit. So the student body really is incorporated in our mascot. It's not technically a mascot; it is the school spirit, and that's what I love. We're unique in that way. But Coach Worthington is going to build a great program there, and I'm so excited.
And I was doing some looking on it. It's in, is it Arkadelphia, Arkansas?
Yes, it's in Arkadelphia.
Arkadelphia. Yeah.
So a little bit of a drive. So how far is that from Gordonsville, Tennessee?
It's about 6.5 hours, 7, give or take.
Yeah, so let's say your dad and mom put a lot of miles on the vehicles going down to Arkadelphia and watching you play softball.
Oh yeah, to say the least.
So I want to talk about too a couple. I want to dig into your stats a little bit. I do have those, but I want to talk about. Let's talk about you a little bit. When did you start playing softball? What made you fall in love with softball? Because you played volleyball. I know you played different sports, but you have graduated to where you're a softball player. So let's talk about that just a little bit.
Okay, so I started. I picked up a softball when I was 4, so about 13 years worth of work. And I'm not gonna talk like it was perfect. There was times where I was like, do I want to do this? I actually stepped away from softball for about a year and tried out dance when I was like 12 years old, and I quickly realized I belonged on a softball field. I hated the ballet classes. No offense to the dancers out there, but I needed a softball in my hand, and volleyball, I love it. I probably could have tried out my senior year just because it was a blast. But I started it my freshman year, which is really when you need to delve into recruiting. And, softball is where I wanted to prioritize. And I had to make that decision for myself.
So now, Abby, what all positions do you play on softball?
I'm a lefty, so I can slap. And then, so in travel, we do rotations. So in a whole tournament, a weekend tournament, I will play left, center, right, and then I will go to first some. I will play everywhere.
I want to talk about your accolades here in just a second, but what I really want to talk about first is every high school player's goal is to be a state champion. Well, you've not only done it once, you've done it twice.
So I think there's no doubt in anyone's mind what our goal is. Really, when I came into the high school program, our goal was to make it, through region and the sub-state, but we've done that. And Coach Bush is so awesome. We don't really like to talk about the goal. We just know it. We know what we want to do.
That's that's just great to hear. And the question that I want to piggyback off of that is, what are you looking forward to personally this season?
Well, the junior class is big. We've really grown up playing softball together, but I'm interested to see what this freshman class has. Bringing new players in is always, for the most part good, because we have loads of talent, and with a big team like ours, for example, it's not hard for us to throw in a pinch runner because we have that talent. So we have a great team.
And we're sitting here now, and I'm looking at your stats, and I'm just in amazement of where you started and where you're at now. Because I'm looking at your stats, and you have drastically improved every single season, which is a testament to you, testament to Coach Bush, testament to what you guys do in practice. I'm looking at your stats right now. As a freshman, you hit 337, you had 32 hits, you had 15 ribbies, you scored 39 runs. 39 runs is a lot of runs, right? You're all district second team. You made the all tournament team. And then I fast forward to your junior year, you're hitting 423 You doubled your hits. Almost doubled your runs scored. You did double your RBIs, and then you actually had 2 home runs on top of that. And then you go all district. Then you go all tournament. Then you go Tennessee and all mid-state first team. Then you got Tennessee Sports Writer all state. And then on top of that, a Henderson State commit. I can't say, Abby, I've known you for a long time, and I love you like one of my own, and I'm so tickled to see where you've went and how you progressed from freshman to now you're junior and then going into your senior year.
Well, thank you, first of all. But if those stats don't say anything about the players that Coach Bush is developing, I don't know what will. He has the best program in Tennessee. Personally, I know I'm biased, but I can't brag on that man enough, really.
Well, and you can see, I mean, and Michael, you and I have talked about it. You can see the progression.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes. There's no drop off. There's no hills and valleys. It's a constant step. You've gotten better each and every year, Abby. And again, that's a testament to you, your parents, and the coaches.
Well, and bouncing off of that, Coach Bush can't do it all. So one of the main things that me and Kaylee and Bailey, us 3 seniors, came into this program establishing was leadership. We established leadership from very early on, and that's something we always want to do. If you don't have leadership, will you have a good team, really? So we try to help Coach Bush as much as possible, because once we're gone, we don't want the program to go down. We want these girls to keep going. I expect those juniors to make it as far as they can. Gordonsville softball has a bright future ahead.
Yeah, and you look at it too. We've watched, me and I know Jonathan has too. We've watched a lot of games you guys have played, and I can see it. And I've been a coach. Jonathan's been a coach. We can tell it's a player-led team. Yes, Coach Bush is there, and Coach Pope is there, and your other coaches are there. It's a player-led team, and you guys have done a tremendous job. Your couple seniors that left last year that helped you guys win your second state championship, and now for you Bailey and Kaylee to take your turn to be the senior leaders of a team. I can't wait to see what you do, and I can't wait to see how far you go this year.
Well, we try to have fun, but when you get in the atmospheres that we have been put in the past 2 years, it's kind of hard. It's easy to forget to have fun. But we're really, us 3 being committed to a college to play softball, we mean business, and we're there to win. And so when we lose, we don't take it lightly. But I mean, that's not a bad mentality to have.
Absolutely, it's not.
No, you look at it, you look at a 1A program. 1A is the smallest classification in the state of Tennessee. But you look at a 1A program with 3 college commits as juniors. That's a testament to what Coach Bush and what his program is built. I don't know how long he's been there now. It seems like about 50 years, but however long, whatever, he's built the program. And for you guys just to keep reloading and reloading and reloading and reloading, man, it's a testament. And like I say, I enjoy watching you guys play.
Well, when there's 3 4A schools playing you, I mean, I'm putting myself in their shoes. It's a lose-lose situation, because if they were to win against us, we won against a 1A school. If they lose, we lost against a 1A school. So, it's hard getting competitive teams on the schedule for us now, because people are seeing that we're out in the spotlight and it's putting pressure on us. And, oh, they're a 1A school that's went back to back. They've got talent.
Well, and for me, I go back to the statement that you made, and I can see it just beaming out of you, the leadership quality that you have. That just, I'm in awe of it, and that's what it takes. You've got to have that senior-led leadership, and like you were saying, I picked something else up off you were saying. You were saying, you don't like to lose, but you learn stuff from a loss. And it's a businessman's approach. Hey, we're going to go in here. We're going to have fun. Because that's the number one thing, is to have fun. But when we're playing you, you better be ready. You better buckle your chin straps because we're going to be there all day, and you're going to get a solid. Is there just 3 seniors on the team this year?
Yes, sir.
So you're going to get the best out of those 3 for sure, and that's going to bleed out into your younger group of kids.
And Coach Bush really emphasizes before every game, we look at every team as we could lose. We cannot go into these games with our heads blown up because that's when we get humbled. And there's a lot of wins under our belts, but the losses keep us humbled. They keep our eyes open to what could happen. I think it was last year, either sophomore year or junior year, we were 1 out away in the sub-state game to not making it to the state tournament, and that was really an eye-opener for us to say, hey, we better lock in and focus, or we'll be sitting our butts in the parking lot.
And you definitely can tell that you locked in and focused because you outscored your state tournament opponents like 40-something to 5 or 6, something like that. So we seen the focus come about definitely in the state tournament.
Yeah. I mean, what much can you say? I think we just had that goal, and it's who wants it the most.
Well, Abby, I have thoroughly enjoyed this interview. I can tell you're just beaming with confidence.
Yeah.
And want to wish you the best of luck on this upcoming season. Hopefully we can have you back on during the season to talk about how it's going.
Yeah.
But we certainly appreciate you jumping on and talking to us. And congratulations again on signing your letter of intent with Henderson State.
Thank you. I would love to hop on here a little later after the first year, whenever y'all would want me to. And I absolutely enjoyed being on here.
Thanks, Abs.
Absolutely. Thank y'all.
So, once again, the testament to Abby, what an interview. What an interview. Abby has one of the best personalities of any kid I've ever met. Man, I've known Abby her whole life, so, I mean, it's just to have her on and to talk about where she started, where she's at, and the program itself. I mean, I know we're not in softball season, but Gornsville softball is nothing but always a contender in 1A.
Yes.
I mean, they're a contender. And then, like she said, they go play these 3A schools, these 4A schools, and they play in a couple 6A teams that come in and can battle with those 6A teams. And you're in softball and you can battle a 6A team being a 1A team, you're a great program.
Absolutely. And that's a testament to what Jonathan has built. He has got it. He's got that ship a moving. And man, I was excited about tonight, the segment of where we had players, but man, I am just blown away by what we have seen and heard on this show tonight. I mean, just we've got sophomores, we've got sophomores in high school, we had some seniors on, and it's just been a positive thing listening to them talk about their seasons and what's upcoming for them.
It is, and it's a testament to the kids that we got as student athletes in our community. You like you said, you got a couple sophomores, you got a couple of seniors, and then Abby going to be a senior this year, or actually is a senior this year. I mean, just to hear those guys talk, and it's just great to see. And I can't wait. You're right, John. This is one of my episodes I was so looking forward to this year, and I can't wait to have more of these episodes on. We're going to get some more people come in, and which leads us to some exciting times for the Dugout Dads local sports podcast is. And Jonathan, you want to do our big reveal? You go right ahead.
Well, starting next week, we're going to be doing a live show from No Bells in Carthage. We'll start doing our Dugout Dad podcast from there each and every Sunday at 7:00. We would love to have you come out, be a live audience with good food. We're open to the questions, and we're just really excited for this opportunity that No Bells is offering us.
Yeah, and I can't wait. I'm excited. We talked about when we first started this, going to be almost 7 weeks ago now. We talked about, where we want to take this podcast to, and, No Bells, we're talking to No Bells and reaching out, and they graciously said, yes, come here, bring your podcast to No Bells, and you guys have your podcast. And, we have a lot of plans that we want to take with this, and we can't do this without the support that we've gotten from our listeners, from people that's liked, shared, and commented. we appreciate that so much. But exciting times for two local dugout dads to do what we love to do and actually get to go to Nobel's and do a live show right there for everybody.
Absolutely. And cannot be more excited. We've got a lot in store for you guys. We keep getting a lot of positive feedback. We keep adding followers. And guys, hey, we're going to give away a T-shirt every 100 followers we get to. So once we get to 600, we're going to give away a T-shirt. Once we get to 700, same thing. So keep liking, keep sharing. Just if you've got suggestions, guys, please tell me what I can do to help you.
Yeah, like I say, we want to build on this. We're having such a great time with doing this. It's just a testament, for these kids that me and Jonathan know for a long time. They come on and they have a great time, and we're going to have our weekly coaches segment every Sunday night. We're going to hope the coaches will come on and be live with us there at Nobel's, and then we want to have these players come. We want to have you guys come. We want you guys to be live with us there at Nobel's and have a blast. And we added. We got to give kudos to Matthew Inyard too. He is a jack of all trades. He's doing producing for the Tiger Football Booster Club over in Gornsville. Now he's going to help us with our Dugout Dads podcast. We are trying to build this for you guys. It's not about me and Jonathan. Yeah, we love doing this. We can sit here and talk about this all day, but this is for you. You the people who actually watch us and want this information. That like this information, because we love giving it to you.
Absolutely. And, there's a lot of you out there that wouldn't have known that Abby's going to Henderson State. And, we want to get that notification, that notoriety out there for these student athletes, because let's face it, they put forth the work. If they've been in the Little League programs to the all the way up to seniors in high school, they have put forth a lot of work, a lot of time for this community. And man, I'm just blown away by these 5 athletes that we had on here tonight. The leadership, the just silent leaders that you don't know that you truly have in our community. We're in a good spot.
Yeah, and I think Jonathan, that wraps us up for episode 7. I think we're episode 7 or 6.
Six.
Episode 6. It wraps us up. Once again, guys, we appreciate the attendance. We saw the live audience, rise a little bit tonight that was watching us live on Facebook. Go back and watch it and like, share, and comment, and keep following the Dugout Dads Local Sports Podcast. Because like Jonathan said, we'll get to 600. We got an inventory of shirts, and we're ready to give them away. So for me, I appreciate everything. And once again, we'll see you next Sunday night live from Nobel's, where our skills are questionable,
but our spirit is unstoppable.